Hello and welcome once again to the India Today See Voter Mood of the Nation poll, the biannual survey, details of which in the latest India Today magazine. We've told you the big picture in the first half of the India Today Mood of the Nation poll. Now it's time to look at the state of the opposition and indeed the state of the economy, Rahul.
Do voters think there is a need for the India Alliance to continue? What do respondents in this survey think about the leadership capabilities or lack thereof of Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party? All that and more coming up in this part of the India Today Mood of the Nation poll. This, remember, the 44th edition of India Today's venerable biannual Mood of the Nation survey.
Just to set the stage, Rahul, the fact is that in the first segment, just to remind our viewers, we suggested that the NDA is up compared to our last survey, and if elections were held today, the BJP on its own would get a majority and the NDA would be close to 350 seats.
So the government's graph is up. Where
That's right.
does the Indian opposition stand? Let's find out. 54,418 respondents in this Mood of the Nation poll done by See Voter for India Today. The poll was conducted between the 2nd of January and the 9th of February. In addition to the respondents for the survey, we have 70,705 interviews from See Voters continuing tracking data, which gives it a very robust sample size, Rajdeep, of 1,25,123 respondents spread all across the 543 Lok Sabha constituencies of India.
That's right. Let's go to the first big question then, and we'll introduce our guests. Rahul will introduce them in a moment. But the first big question is quite simply this. Given what the India Today Mood of the Nation survey is showing, should the India Alliance continue? Simple, straight question. Is that opposition alliance, should it continue? Is it viable? 65% say yes, it should continue. 26% say no, it should not.
Now, that's very interesting, Rajdeep, because that means that a lot of the BJP NDA supporters also think that the India Alliance should continue, because at the moment you're at 65%. Remember, the number of people voting for the government is roughly about 40%. If you got 65% people saying yes and only 26% saying no, it essentially suggests even those who vote for Modi saying, "Bhai, India Alliance to hona chahiye," for whatever reason. If it keeps the government under check and ensures that there is no excess, but they'd like for the India Alliance to continue. Except that the alliance partners themselves are not sure. They're snapping at the heels, uncertain of who leads it and if there's an alliance at all.
Partisan, Rahul. Well, you know, I mean, many of your viewers might be saying that, okay, these 26% saying no are BJP voters. No, it's not like that. We did a cross-tab on the partisanship based on that. It's secular across all the parties. So basically, 2/3 of even BJP voters are saying India Alliance should remain there. They also want a good, strong opposition.
A cricket match is fun only when you got somebody on the other side.
Just to add, I think, Yashwant, you should drill that down in terms of caste groups. You've done a study of that and shows that 75% of the scheduled castes and tribes actually want the India Alliance to continue.
Yeah.
And the backwards as well. So there is also coming support across caste. But let's also add to this that this poll, Yashwant's findings, See Voter India Today poll is done before taking into account Delhi. We have not taken into account the Delhi results.
That's true.
So what we are seeing reflected in this poll is actually the outcome starting from the general elections that was there in 2024, right up to Maharashtra, Haryana, not taking into account this.
But you see, in a way, Delhi was, you could argue, the final nail in the coffin. Because given
You think there's already been a final nail?
Well, I say India Alliance RIP. I mean, for now at least, rest in peace, RIP for now. What happens in the future, we don't know. It's interesting, you say SC, ST still want the alliance to go ahead. Remember, the biggest shift in the Lok Sabha, Rahul, took place among Dalit voters. A 5% swing away from the BJP towards the India Alliance. India Alliance potentially is a formation which could be viable. But in the last 9 months, they've never held a single meeting of all the allies coming together. They've not had a common minimum program. They've ended up in Delhi bickering against each other. They didn't have an alliance in Haryana. In Maharashtra, yes, they had an alliance, but they lost badly. So I think, as Omar Abdullah famously put in a tweet when the Delhi elections took place, or Lado. In a way, I think the India Alliance has fractured apart the moment you've got to state elections, Rahul, because that's when the conflicting interests have come.
There is a very good proverb in Urdu and Hindi, Muddai sust gawa chust. which simply says the people want the India Alliance doesn't really want themselves to be
Make
seen.
no
in
mistake,
that.
this is one of the most significant findings of the study, regardless of how the constituents of the India Alliance feel about it. 65% voters cutting across party lines say the India Alliance should continue. And that's a good opportunity for us to introduce you to our guests joining us on this broadcast. I'll start with Sanjay Jha, who has been a part of the Congress in the past, leans towards the secular formations. We've got Rajat Sethi joining us and Ashutosh. Sanjay Jha, it's a bizarre situation, frankly, that you've got the India Alliance members themselves not certain of the future of this bloc and whether they want to be a part of it or not. Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party, for example, daggers drawn saying never again will we fight together. The voters of India in this See Voter India Today poll are telling the India Alliance loudly, stay together, don't fight.
Well, Rahul, let me tell you, many people who believe in a democratic, secular framework for India were highly inspired by the performance of the India Alliance that got nearly just 30 seats short of the majority. It was a fantastic comeback, especially given the headwinds they faced. But I can tell you the elephant in the room is the failure of the Congress party to lead the India Alliance. And this largely stems from the fact that the Congress has not really got its own house in order. To give you an example, as we all know, in any democratic alliance, the one who is the linchpin of the alliance, India Alliance has several partners, has to be on a strong wicket most of the times. Yes, you can lose one or two elections, but the way the Congress has humiliated itself will obviously send a wrong signal. So I want to put it on record. You see, the Congress will have the 100 seats or 99 or 100 seats for the next 4 years. Rahul Gandhi is the leader of the opposition. He has a voice in parliament. He leads, along with Mr. Kharge, the Congress party. My suggestion to the entire India Alliance, I'm sure your program will be heard by a lot of people, Rahul, is that let the chairperson of the India Alliance move to a regional partner. You need to create a new voice. You need a new paradigm, what you call as a political idiom. And the Congress's seats will always be, I think, higher than anybody else, unless it just kind of eviscerates. So the truth is the Congress will remain the big player. You can even have a Congress prime minister down the line. But there is no harm in allowing somebody else to be the chairman. You need new voices. You need a new leadership. And I think the Congress is struggling for one single reason. It lacks the hunger to win. I'm tired of saying this again and again, but a party that does not seize opportunities after June 2024, in Haryana, a front runner, in Maharashtra, one should have done well. Delhi, I really, frankly, didn't expect much. The Congress has actually made the BJP emboldened. We are talking a very different language already within 7 months of June 2024. And the reason behind that, Rahul, is this, that the Congress has got a very entitled leadership that doesn't feel the pain and anguish of defeat. And the whole party spends its entire time investing in just a few leaders at the top. That's not the way you're going to fight the BJP under any circumstances.
That's the sort of dire prognosis that Sanjay
No, but
Jha...
Sanjay could have said this.
Yes.
9 years ago, it would have been the same. You could have said it 8 years ago, it's the same. 7 years ago, it's the same. 6 years ago, it's the same. 5 years ago, it's the same. 4 years ago, and maybe 3 or 4 years ago, it could still be the same.
There's a saying of Einstein, attributed to Einstein, perhaps wrongly, that when you do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, that's insanity. What is insanity? You try the same thing over and over again and expect different results. It's not going to happen. In a way, the India Alliance was actually one of the few attempts they made to do something different, to create a wider umbrella alliance. And you're giving up on that all too easily.
But you didn't try to make it happen properly either.
That's what I said. There has not been a single meeting, Rahul, for 9 months of the India Alliance where all the allies got together. I remember being in Patna in June of 2023 when the alliance was formed. The man who brought it together, Nitish Kumar, is now with the BJP. All the others their parties have broken or they've suffered election defeats. And I think Sanjay is right. The Congress should have taken the lead to bring it together. It's not the party by a long distance.
Was the Haryana election. Congress should have accommodated Aam Aadmi Party even for 2, 3, 4, whatever they said. And then that would have given them a chance to ask for an accommodation in Delhi. In letter and spirit, that would have given a flip to the India Alliance that, okay, we are together. Results could have gone right or wrong. That's not the question. I think the
No, but
bigger
you want the
damage than
marriage more than the partners in the marriage.
I know, but
the
the thing
Pandit,
is-
that's the problem. The Pandits are saying shadi karo, shadi karo. Jo shadi karni hai, uska interest nahi.
No,
shadi
that's because at the state level there are lots of conflicting ambitions. I mean, you cannot expect the state Congress overnight to embrace the Aam Aadmi Party, which they believe is responsible for their downfall. In Haryana, the Congress felt that, this was an election we were going to win. They also made the mistake of confusing 99 seats with having a clear majority. I think all of these factors, plus regional players are zealously guard their space. My point is, you didn't even try to set a coordination committee. Where is a Harkishan Singh Surjit-like leader who could have brought everyone together? Sharad Pawar is the only one who tried, and he's 84. I mean, where is
it? No, all fair points, but with some caveats, right? Let us just interpret this fact that 65% of the people that we polled want the India alliance to continue, which means that the seed that they had planted appeals to them. They want a strong opposition. There are things to the India alliance credit that they were able to stop the BJP juggernaut with very pertinent questions of inequities, right? Came out with an agenda that did appeal to a large section of people, and their results showed that they had it. What happened in the assembly elections is a matter of debate as which party should have done what. But the idea of India and what it stands for, I think, needs to be built upon and do it.
No, who's going to build it?
No,
who's going to build it?
I'm just making one. The India Alliance, in many senses, was a disruptive force in the way it worked itself out, both in its social and economic agenda. If you see what we analyzed yesterday, Mr. Modi, the second biggest achievement of Mr. Modi is political stability. What India Alliance didn't give us was a sense of cohesiveness and an ability to stick together. These are the qualities that they need to work on. Fine, you made losses. BJP made losses also, if you remember, in 2018-19, when they lost all the 3 states and came back. It doesn't mean that you've lost the center.
No, but
you need to work
we have a situation where Pandits are more enamored by the idea of the India alliance than the constituents of the India alliance itself.